Hello, YouTube. This is Hassan Patterson, a business consultant with a focus in business lending. Basically, if you don't know, I spent 10 years on doing sales in business financial services when it comes to small business financing. So I just wanted to give you a couple of pointers when it comes to actually applying for loans and lines of credit and things of that nature. Um, So basically, a lot of times small business owners are usually in their day to day operations and they don't necessarily have the time to pretty much research and vet out different banks and lenders. So sometimes it's actually beneficial to have a broker that can help you that's main interest is having a mutual benefit. Um, when you're applying for a loan, you really want to make sure that, especially if it's not a local bank or a local lender or something like that, you want to make sure that they actually lend in your state. Because a lot of times business owners won't realize that there's some state restrictions. Another thing is that you want to make sure that you know all the associated fees. I don't know if you're doing a hard money loan or if you're doing, if you're working with a consultant or a broker that was to charge upfront fees or there's some crazy fees on the back end, you want to make sure you get all those things taken into consideration before you go ahead and do that because it can save you money. And honestly, you don't want to put all the energy in the deal and then realize at the end of it there's some type of fee associated and then you don't want to do it anymore. Everybody wastes time and it's just never a good thing. Um, you also want to make sure that, especially for businesses that have multiple owners, that you know the specific required ownership percentage. Sometimes they'll do 51%, but a lot of times, like if you're doing an SBA loan, they want to see everybody on paper, all owners. They want to get a good representation of everybody's FICO and things of that nature. I've worked on SBA deals and they haven't gone through in the past because one owner will have a 630 FICO and the other one will have a 700, and obviously they're very strict on individual FICO scores. So make sure you know the ownership percentage and how you want to actually proceed in the deal and who's going to be the guarantors and whatnot. Um, yeah. So another thing is industry requirements. I know sometimes it's very hard for certain industry types to actually get financing. Like farming is very hard. Um, Used in new auto sales could be very difficult. Being a bail bond company, any type of broker, real estate investing. That's those. I mean, you do have some options when it comes to those, but it's not broader market type where you could just walk into any bank. Most of the time, if you're doing anything on the investment side, banks are not going to want to lend. So you have to make sure that you know the ins and outs on what they actually would require in terms of the industry type, so that you don't again waste your time trying to deal with somebody, deal with a broker, or deal with a bank, and submit all this paperwork just for not to even go through it all because of that one stipulation. Um, what else is there? So basically, as a small business owner, you already know that there's going to be some expectations with how much money you're earning. Your revenues are going to determine what type of loans you could get. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're making under $10,000 a month, I mean, oftentimes they're not really nobody's going to get out of bed for that. So you really do want to be making sure that you're making a certain amount. Um, Furthermore, if you're a growing business, that's good. That's a very good thing, but you can grow to a point where you're not considered a small business anymore. So you really want to make sure that typically it's between 5 and 500. I know Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, he said 5 to 500. Some people, there's varying levels, but let's say 500 or less employees is going to deem you a small business. You really want to make sure that your revenue is not also too high because some things like SBA loans, whether it's a 504 or 7A, they're going to make sure that you're actually a small business in that, depending on your industry type, the NAICS code, you're not making more money than the allotted amount that they specify on their terms. So those are things that you want to look out for. Um, Yes, a lot of loans are going to look at personal credit. I know I get that. I've gotten that question for 10 years. Oh, I own a business. Why can't they look at the business? Because honestly, quite frankly, most small businesses don't have business credit. It's just is what it is, and if they do, it's not good. So that's why, and it's honestly your guarantor on probably 99% of loan types out there. You're going to be a personal guarantor, so you gotta the banks and the lenders want to cross their eyes and dot their t's and make sure who they're dealing with is actually going to pay the money back. Especially if you're dealing with something that's not collateralized, or especially if you're dealing with something that's non-recourse. So just want to make sure that you have those things in consideration while you're applying. This way, you're not necessarily wasting your time going out there and facing lenders and facing banks that can't deal with your particular scenario. There usually is somebody that can, but again, you might want to get a professional, like a professional broker or something like that, or an agent that could actually help you with some of the details so that they could vet out a lot of these lenders for you so that you could do your daily operations without necessarily having to spend too much time raising capital or putting together a package for these lenders and institutions. So that's my 2 cents on that. If you like the video, please subscribe. We do have a target. I do have a target of 50 subscribers at this point. And if you could like the video, if you found this valuable, I can make more videos on the topic. Thanks. Peace out.